The 114th NAACP National Convention is now underway here in Boston, on the ground in the city for the first time since 1982. Back then, Boston was grappling with the aftermath of the busing crisis and a series of hateful and violent attacks on black residents. Today, its reputation isn't much better. Back in 2017, comedian Michael Che famously called Boston the most racist city he's ever been to. But local NAACP leaders are hoping the convention will serve as a chance to reintroduce Boston to black America and maybe change some minds. So what kind of impact can this convention realistically have? My next guest was first elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives just a few months after the 1982 convention. Byron Rushing went on to serve for 36 years and to become one of Boston's best-known black leaders during his tenure. He's currently the head of the Roxbury Historical Society, and he joins me now. Byron, great to see you as always. Thanks for being here.
It's always good to see you. Yep.
As you look back on 1982, the last time that the NAACP came to Boston, what stands out in your mind about that time in the city's history compared to today?
I think that certainly the level of racism in the city had not begun to shift, and that is really recent. I mean, I think that we forget how segregated the city was residentially, and is just recovering from that. But also, there was just a feeling by a lot of white people that they could take a stand against any form of integration in the city and get away with it. And I think, and of course, that's one. And I think people were surprised at the violence that went on. And part of that, of course, was the white leadership of the city. I think there was no feeling that all these black people were coming to town. I'm going to say something to my constituents and just calm down. No one said that in '82.
Really?
No white leader said that.
So, and that's from then Mayor Kevin White on down. Even he didn't say anything like that.
Yes, and Kevin learned about black people after he got elected. I mean, when Kevin was elected, he only had one black person on the staff, Chief Jones. I mean, it was just and so we really need to redo our understanding of that history.
When I was getting ready to talk to you, I was looking through some newspaper archives, and I found a Christian Science Monitor piece from '82 written in the run-up to the convention, and it described, I think, 3 black families looking to leave subsidized housing on a so-called white block in Dorchester because of the violence and harassment they'd been enduring for about 6 months. And I was amazed reading this piece at the, as you said, just the degree to which violent racial animus seemed to be accepted as a reality of life and also an appropriate tactic by some populations.
I think that's absolutely correct. And then we have to also understand there was very little of the integration that went on happened because of political white leadership urging that to happen. It happened because of court decisions. That's right. Public housing was not integrated in the city in 1982. Right. That was a court case that brought that to happen. And of course, we had just been gone through all the opposition to integrating the schools.
I want to shift gears just a slight degree and ask you to reflect on the nature, maybe the power, but also the texture of the black political establishment 4 decades ago compared to now. How did black power then stack up to black political power today?
I think that we had a number of significant leaders, and some in office and some like Mel King, that just being able to run in the primary, right, was seen as a huge advance in politics in Boston. I think that the major thing that happened, I think, after that period was an increased number of white progressives staying in the city. We lost, of course, because of the same attitude. We lost of course, the major progressive ethnic white group in Boston during this period, and that's Jews, right? Mm-hmm. Jews leave Boston, and they leave Boston because we got set up by this incredible anti-Semitism, and that was used as a way to integrate residential neighborhoods in Boston.
Go ahead, finish your thought. And then
So I think it's important to understand that, of course, there was the organizing shift of the reaction to Martin Luther King's assassination in the 60s. And then there was attempts to integrate the city residentially, but they decided on what neighborhood that would happen. They didn't open up the whole city, right? And this is banks we're talking about in collusion.
Segregated integration, effectively.
Right. It was quite remarkable. And and I don't think it was a coincidence, though I get into these arguments still with Jewish historians. I don't think it's any coincidence on the neighborhood they picked.
Let me fast forward to the present,
move into.
Because I could talk to you about this history for hours and would enjoy it a great deal. But I want to ask about a hope that Tanisha Sullivan, the head of the Boston branch of the NAACP, has expressed in advance of the convention that is coming here now. She said that she hopes it's an opportunity to reintroduce Boston to Black America, but she also said that she hopes it serves as a spur to policymakers in the very near future. She told the Boston Globe, if we get to August 15th, just next month, and our elected officials, policymakers, business leaders are not ready to have a reconvening to talk about this is what we heard, this is what we learned, and now this is what we want to do going forward, then I would have a question mark on whether we've had an impact. If, in fact, such a reckoning occurs in the immediate aftermath of this NAACP convention, what are the policies that you would hope civic leaders and elected officials are going to be talking about?
Well, I think that one piece is economic development inside the Black community. And I think that this convention is going to demonstrate to a lot of white people how varied the economic situation is in Boston in positive ways as well as negative ways. And I think that what I am going to hope gets counted is how many Black people come to Boston as tourists after this convention. I think that this is really an introduction to Black people across the country about whether introduction to Boston, when Boston is showing off itself as being progressive becoming progressive around race. Now, and I think that's going to have a significant effect on our reputation, and which certainly didn't improve after '82, and in the whole country. And I think that's something to look forward to. The city is, of course, more progressive than it's ever been. We really have the first progressive mayor that we've ever had. We've had centrist mayors, but we've never had a mayor that started off saying that they were going to win by organizing progressives in the city, and I think that is it's a difficult job for Michelle, but I don't think she is shifting from that goal of organizing progressives. And the question is whether enough stay in Boston and come to Boston. Right. And I think the convention is actually a kind of a symbol of that political leadership going all out in a way that even Menino didn't go out for the Urban League. Though there's a funny story about Menino and the Urban League when they were here for their conference, and that is he got annoyed that they hadn't planned to come to Roxbury.
Now that you mentioned that, I remember. I totally
that?
forgotten about that. Yeah.
So he organized. He calls me up and he says, "I want you to take them on a tour." And I said, "Okay." And so he said, "I'll get a few trolleys." I get out to the convention center, and there are literally 15 trolleys.
Oh, wow.
And
okay,
we went all around.
Thank you for that reminder. I'd forgotten about that. And that shows a contrast between then and now.
Yeah.
Byron Rushing, always great to talk to you. Appreciate it.